Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Rakesh Sareen, and I'm truly excited to be here with you in the series of webinars on Your Body Hears Everything Your Mind Says. And this is the fifth one in the series and on a very, very important topic, which is trust and self-discipline. And that too linked to our wellness. Well, my role out here is to be a messenger. And what I'll do is that I will create an acute awareness that how trust and discipline can really help us keep our well-being, top notch. We'll be presenting some very well researched stuff around this subject and also provide you some compelling reasons that why these these truly great potential, to keep us healthy and well, can be used to our big advantage in case we are not using it. Well, in the previous programs, we have covered the natural laws of wellness on the principle that our body is super intelligent, provided we give it a good environment, it thrives on itself. Our body can take care of itself. And when I'm saying body, it's body and mind. We have already covered the subjects on air, sunlight, water, nutrition, rest, exercise, healthy spaces. But in a very quick manner, what we discussed was that the air works very well with us in our favor when we consciously ensure that we are doing deep breathing, at least give it a chance for 10, 20, 30 minutes on a day. And one of the best way to do that is pranayama. We talked about sunlight, which is available in ample, and the best way to absorb that is in the morning, 20, 30 minutes. And sunlight doesn't just give us vitamin D, but it gives some very important nutrients and neurochemicals to us, like nitric oxide, sets our circadian rhythm, helps us sleep better, and elevates our mood. We talked about water and gulping water at one go is not enough. Even if we gulp 3 liters at a time or 2 liters at a time, our body can retain only 120 ml of water in 30 minutes, which it absorbs, and balance is flushed out. Therefore, a regular rhythm is very important. Water is the best nutrients, and that's what we talked about when we talked about the nutrients. And the best nutrients come from the plant-based diets, and it also helps in enriching our microbiome. And we discuss our gut is a second brain and why it is so important to feed it the right stuff. Then we talked about the rest and exercise, which are kind of yin-yang. Why rest is so important, not only to heal our emotional aspect, but also to build our immunity, to detoxify us, to repair the cells which keep on regenerating in our system. We also talked about healthy spaces where we discuss on the geopathic stress. We talked about Wi-Fi, how best to use it, at the same time, how to relax under that environment. And the healthy spaces also means our healthy relations, because emotional aspects are also part of the spaces. And today we are going to talk on the trust and self-discipline. And these are two essential components of our natural laws, or I may say principle, which feed and they both complete each other in all walks of life. Now, we have heard stories that trust can move mountain. And that's a fact. A small story coming from the Buddha time, where 3 monks were traveling to a monastery and they got looted and robbed while they were going there. The priest asked, these travelers, that what did you learn in the process? The first one said, that not to trust anyone, and especially the stranger. His entry was barred in the monastery. He was not allowed to get in. The other two said that, well, we should trust, but we need to be careful. We need to gain knowledge. We need to analyze, and then we must trust, because trust is so very important, and they were allowed in. So today, next 45, 50 minutes, we would be reflecting on what to trust, especially with regard to our well-being. So that's a subject. We take a step back, and we will see certain very interesting aspects which we know, many of us know, maybe some of us will bring that from our background to the forefront, and we can contemplate, we can look at the research which is going on, and then we can further dig it down and see if it is really good for us and for our children or parents or friends. Why not? Why not use this powerful tool of trust and discipline to our advantage? So before we move on, I would request you all to take this simple questionnaire. Now, I'm trying to get that questionnaire. Yes. So here we go for a very simple poll. And there are 3 questions. We have 15 seconds to answer them. So the first question is, do you think the mind has the power to heal the body? The second question is, do you think your mind can harm the body? And the third question is, do you believe in the placebo effect? And placebo is like taking a sugar pill in disguise of a medicine, which is well proven, well established, and you have a faith that yes, this is going to cure me. But it's not really a medicine, it is just a sugar pill. Interesting. So in this group, what we see, very good. So now we are closing the poll in next 3 seconds. So 1, 2, and 3. And now let me share the results with you. So the beautiful finding is that we all believe that mind has a power to heal our body. It is 100%. We all believe in that. So we start with a great base. Then do you think your mind can harm the body? Majority of the people are saying, yes, it can. And the third question around placebo. So this is kind of a mixed bag. 60% people feel that yes, it has an effect. A small percentage, 10% people feel no, it doesn't have an effect, and somewhat is close to 30%. Now this is a good insight coming from the group, and I will move on with this understanding to the next slide. So, trust being one of the law or principle, it works in our life. Whether we are aware or we are not aware, but we are in the gamut of this principle. It is like gravity. whether someone is understanding the Newton's law or not, but the person, every individual, we are in the orbit of gravity. If we take a step forward on a cliff, we fall down thousands of meters and lose our life. But at the same time, gravity is keeping us alive. And likewise is the trust. Now, placebo is a term which was understood. People started developing understanding sometime in 16th century. There was a British physician, Higrett, who came up with this entire philosophy. And today, in our medical world, in the pharmacy world, in our sports world, placebo is in thing, and no medicine comes out in the market unless until they do a controlled trial where they look at what is the benefit the medicine is giving over and above the placebo benefit. And I'll show a couple of charts. Now, nocebo is an identical twin, but the evil twin. So the way our mind thinks positive about a product or about exercise or what we are doing can lead to a positive step. Likewise, the other kind of thought takes us in the reverse direction, which is nocebo. And there are a lot of researches which has gone around this. There are plethora of papers. And here I would like to say that this slide shows that what are those areas which really impact the people who have a positive impact, from where does it come? So that the topmost of that is expectation. Do I expect a benefit from this pill or not? Even if it is a sugar pill, am I expecting a benefit out of that? So second one is that how am I conditioned? Have I got signals from my surrounding, from my childhood that, well, if I do exercise, I'm going to get huge benefit? How has been my learning? What is the context in which this whole placebo, these sugar pill has been given to me? What is my motivation? That am I really looking forward to get better in that? If I have a headache, then am I really looking forward to see that by doing this exercise, I'm going to get better? My emotions, and what a person tells me who's in a white coat, intelligent person, a doctor, if a doctor says that, look, guy, this is going to really benefit you. So these are the kind of the clues what we get, and that impacts our placebo effect. On the contrary, the nocebo also works if these clues are on the negative side. So here are some examples. So when the pharmaceutical companies spend millions and billions of dollars on the field trials, there is always a controlled trial where a sugar pill may be given instead of the chemical which has been invented. So on the left-hand side, the chart, what you're seeing, that there is a delta, meaning that the people have got a benefit over and above what they got a psychological benefit from that chemical. On the right-hand side, you realize that the treatment, the real drug versus the sugar pill, there is no difference, and therefore this is a money down the drain. And therefore, what we say, that effectiveness of the drug is which is over and above, which could have even happened without the placebo or with the placebo. I have with me my colleague Leher, who's a qualified psychologist, clinical psychologist, and she has done a lot of research. She took a deep dive and she looked at various aspects and studies which have shown an outcome of the placebo effect. And at this juncture, I would request Leher, why not you take over from here and take us through with your research finding.
Okay. Thank you, Aris, for sharing a brief overview of placebo with us. Now, let us look at some recent research studies which have had some very interesting insights to offer. So, take for instance diet. So, there was a study conducted with healthy adults, and they were randomly assigned to two groups, the experimental and the control group. So, the experimental group was told that they were given a calorie deficit diet, and the other one was not. So they engaged in the both of them engaged in the same exercise regimen. But we also know that both the groups were given the same diet, not different. So they were doing the same exercise, they were given the same diet. But when the results were noted, the experimental group, which was told that their diet was calorie deficit, actually showed reduced body mass, percentage of fat tissue, as well as BMI. Now, there are also a lot of studies on pain management and placebo and how it has been extremely effective. There were two groups of people, and they were told that, if you take this medication, your placebo, your pain will reduce. So, the group that was told that pain reduction will happen, they expected it to happen. So, the pain reduction was actually sensed. Uh, Instead of the other group which was not told that pain reduction will happen. So the expectations tend to modify the outcomes. There were also a lot of researches conducted on anxiety. So the researchers in this particular study aim to investigate the impact of psychological factors, expectation of high and low pain, and which also led to sensitivity. So there was also another group of Technical University of Munich. So in 2012, they looked at 31 studies that basically established that if you believe a treatment will not help you, it probably won't, and vice versa. Now, the most interesting study, which ties up placebo extremely well with psychological wellness, is this last one, which says placebo effect, exercise, and self esteem. So an experiment was conducted. On the next slide, you can see the results. Um, yes. So as you can see, there were two groups, again, experimental and control group. So both of them followed the same exercise regimen. And the experimental group was told that, if you exercise, your psychological well-being will be enhanced. But the control group was not given this statement. So while they were following the same exercise regimen, one group was told that this will help your psychological well-being, the other one was not. So as you can see, the experimental group's results of self-esteem are extremely high, even though they were doing the exact same things, except one was told this will help and one was told nothing. So similarly, there are so many researches that have been done in this field. Moving forward, another research which was very interesting. So basically, the two groups were given the same ointment, but one of them was told, as you can see, that the cream will make the rash worse, and the other one was told that the cream will make the rash better. So, what was told, the context that was given, actually led to those results. The expectancy of that a particular thing will happen actually made the thing happen. So, those are just some interesting researches from our end. So, back to you, RS.
Thank you, Leher. So what Leher was talking about is, what do we believe? What is our trust system? Where is it coming from is a very important aspect. And it is not only the outcome or the results, but people or the researchers have seen very, very clear physiological changes. The changes in their bronchial dilation, changes in the metabolic function, changes, with respect to the swelling reduction, pain management, where our body in itself is a doctor and releases endorphins, which subside pain, and that is produced within our system, and that gets also triggered, through our expectation, through our thoughts, and what do we trust. So the big question out here is, while it was very encouraging to see the results, that we all, our understanding is that our mind can heal the body. But if we take a step back and we focus on where am I coming from? So is the swing in our favor? Is our mindset is more tuned towards placebo, or is our mindset more more swinging towards nocebo? So this is one. If I would say that one important takeaway what each one of us can have from this webinar is to ask this question to ourselves: which side is a swing for me, placebo or nocebo? So that is to understand the problem state. And then of course, we need to also look at, now how do I find a solution to this issue, what is there in my situation? So before we move on to the solution side, let's have another round of simple questions like we had the earlier one. And here I will open the questionnaire number 2, which says, do you trust yourself to engage in healthy habits? Yes, no, somewhat. Some say for sure I can, some say mere se nahi hota hai. The second question is even more important, that are you able to sustain the healthy habits, which is the third one is, do you practice positive self-talk or affirmations? The answers are still coming up. And now I would end the poll and share the results. So everyone, the good news, say that yes, I trust myself in engaging with healthy habits. A small percentage, 8% says that somewhat. And are you able to sustain healthy habits? It's almost half-half, where 46% people are saying that yes, I can, but more than half are saying somewhat or no. And the third one, it says, do you practice positive self-talk affirmations? Good news is 62% people are saying that yes, and the balance, a small percentage no, and sometimes is 30%. So that's a good news. It's quite a good group from this perspective. And now I will close and move on to the solution part. So whatever may be the situation out here, when we were talking of where is the swing, is it in my favor or otherwise? And now how do we take care of the situation is what we are coming to. So how do I build trust? And the first and the foremost is building positive relationships. And charity starts from home, and the most important relationship is with myself. So what is my relationship with myself is an extremely important aspect. The second one is that how do I relate with my colleagues, with my family, with my immediate family, with my friends, with the environment. So this becomes, the relationship aspect. And in Wellness Mandala, we have curated a very interesting, psychometric tool called Joy Capital, which my colleague Shivi is going to talk a bit more about it. And this assessment is a very effective tool to understand the relationship aspects. And once we understand something, we can always bridge the gap. And we have trained psychologists like Leher, who are expert counsel on how to take the next steps to bridge the gap. The second one, if you remember the Buddha story, that it is, yes, we should trust, but we should research, we should find out the trustworthiness. We should, be clever in terms of judging what is the best thing to trust on. And here, and especially with regard to the wellness, one thing to trust, I would say, is the natural laws of wellness, which are undisputed, which are there for thousands of years, and which are in abundance. So here again, we have an assessment tool called Self-Care Capital, a very simple tool, resting on our tech platform, wherein, we can assess where am I with regard to my self-care. So if I have to trust something, what are those areas, where I should trust and then bridge the gap? And the third one is consistency. Now, we realize that while in this group itself, almost 50% people said that, yes, I understand and I believe in it, but am I able to be consistent in following those aspects? The answer is, we all know, often we get weakened and we start something and then we drop it down. Now for that, we are creating a Vellum ritual so that, if we follow that ritual, and we from this country are very good at following rituals. So we are trying to weave all these natural laws of wellness into kind of a ritual. And if we follow the ritual, all of them will get imbibed into our life. And therefore, unknowingly, after a certain period of time, we'll be practicing those areas which will sustain our well-being. So that's the whole idea. And in the next webinar, we are going to talk about the rituals. So this is, I would say, a very, very important topic, what I'm talking, in this slide. It is your body hears everything your mind says, which is a proven concept. Our body is super intelligent, has amazing power to heal, is a proven concept. There's tons and plethora of research on this subject, and we all know it. When a finger, we get a cut, it heals by itself, provided we give it the right environment and don't put it into a mouth, which converts it into septic. So what is, like we discussed earlier also, what is your self-talk? Is it placebo or nocebo? We also need to understand that this self-talk has come from where? What is the source of that? You would agree that our subconscious mind is very powerful. And most of the habits and things what we do and our beliefs come through our subconscious mind. Interestingly, the subconscious mind matures or gets developed by the time we are 6. So all the signals what we have got, through our 5 senses, they get rested, into our subconscious mind, and they keep on playing year after year, even, when we are in a very ripe age. So imagine a situation, you see a little boy in this picture peeping through between the 2 lines. Your body hears everything your mind says, and there are also a lot of pills lying in front of this little boy. Now, when the children get sick, what do we say? No child enjoys eating medicine or drinking a syrup, which is not very tasty. What do we say? That it is very important, you must have it, otherwise you will not recoup. Your fever will not go away, your throat will not get better, this and that, this and that, this and that. So what is it that getting into our subconscious mind? What is getting into a subconscious mind is that it is medicine which cures me. Now imagine a different paradigm where a parent is telling the child that, look, your body is very intelligent, it's very powerful, it will cure you. But if you have this tablet, or if you have this syrup, or if you put this bandage, it will support your body to heal even faster. So same thing, but the messaging is entirely different, wherein, right from the childhood, a child gets a message that I'm capable of healing myself. Yes, there are researches, there are inventions, and these medicines are important because they are going to support my body, which is intelligent body. And therefore, what happens right from the age of 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, we start building the subconscious mind of our youngsters, Gen X and Gen Y, Gen Z, that your body is supreme, it is capable, and you need to take these, you need to do exercise because it will keep you fit. It is good. When you do exercise, it is good. When you eat a plant-based diet, your body intelligence get further intensified. It keeps you fit. It keeps you, so all these aspects get embedded in our system. So what are we passing on to the next generation is very important. And I think today's child is tomorrow's parent. So again, a pointer to reflect and see what can we do better in the communication for ourselves and for our next generation. Another aspect is, now that is for the child, what about the people who already grown up and we have our own subconscious mind? Now, how do I change my thought process, my subconscious mind? It is easier said than done. And that's where there's the role of affirmation which comes. And affirmation is a positive statement which we say to ourselves in a present continuous basis. Imagining we are already there, I'm already well, I'm already fit, I'm already having a BMI which is perfect. So whereas the situation may not be there, but we say this affirmation in a positive way, and it can be used in an extremely effective manner. It can be clubbed with exercises or yoga like Yoga Nidra, where we do these sankalps and sankalpas, and it is extremely effective in changing our subconscious language. So if we move on further, just a few slides, I would say that it's a very interesting slide again to make our judgment. And here I'm going to talk on two parts of our mind. One is a reptilian part, which is amygdala, which is position where you see the temporal lobe in the bottom. Now, the role of this part of our mind is, or brain is, that it protects us. It is our big protector. It is reptilian mind, coming from last 300 millions of years. And if a car is running towards us, in split second, it releases certain hormones, which make us active. Our blood is flowing, heart is pumping, and we are able to save ourselves. Unfortunately, it is not smart. It's not smart. It can't differentiate between the tiger and a running car and a stress which we are facing, or a unhealthy relationship what we are having. So various kind of dangers it can't differentiate, but it keeps our system revving, which is the priority for our body, that take care of the immediate danger, leave aside the other aspects of maintenance. For example, growth, for example, removing toxins, for example, building immunity, because these aspects will be utilized only when we are alive. And therefore, this reptilian mind takes over ourselves. And today, in the zone of heavy stresses, this is where we are. On the other side, the frontal lobe or the frontal cortex is the aspect which is the seat of logic, the seat of reasoning, the seat of planning. And from here, we get the parasympathetic nervous system, which is relaxing, which is healing. And therefore, we need to create the right balance. And this understanding is important. And a lot can be done on this aspect through breathing, through meditation, through affirmations, through trusting ourselves that we are leading a life which is also relaxing. And this is the smart side of our brain. Quickly, the best ways to heal the mind and body, I would say, is improve intentional thoughts. My body is super intelligent. I can cure myself. Medication is going to boost it further. It will catalyze. Trust the rhythm. One question which is very important to ask oneself is that what is one thing I need to do which my body needs? And different people get different answers, for that. Practice a good feel about whatever we are doing. So a person who's, like Leher explained, a person who's doing exercise like a drudgery or like a work versus a person who's doing exercises with expectations. Like in yoga, say that when we do yoga, focus on the stretch and the goodness of that stretch. We get the benefit which is multifold. So am I practicing that while we are working hard towards maintaining ourselves well? Develop trust on nutrients. So when we are taking nutrients, we spend money in terms of buying these organic nutrients and plant-based nutrients. So am I just gulping it, or am I putting on my hand and looking at it and developing a feel that yes, this is the best thing what I'm going to do for my nutrition and body is going to benefit like. So make gratitude a daily routine, because gratitude is one thing, and there has been very interesting research. We say that 95% of our issues, what we face the health challenges, come from swelling. Various kinds of swelling, mild swelling in the body. And gratitude is one exercise which help in terms of reducing the swelling. Now, how it happens? There's a complete science, there's a complete hormonal circuit which happens, but gratitude triggers that. When we express gratitude to people, gratitude to the food, or for example, the nutrients. If you recall in our mythology, we have been taking water in hand and taking rounds of the plate, of the thali, and then eating the food by first thanking the food. Be forgiving, extremely important, and organize your life, as we are talking. And that organization, we would be coming in the next webinar, next Saturday, on how to ritualize that. And before I end and hand over to Shivi, I would say forgiveness is the highest act of self-love. Developing a trust on that is extremely important, because it's like a poison that one drinks and wish the other person dies. Once we are not able to forgive, our entire system is in the sympathetic mode, which is releasing the stress hormones within my system. And this forgiveness, at times the hurt is because of somebody else's problem, not my problem. And still, the rational mind says, why should I forgive? But in a way, we are getting into the placebo. Instead of placebo, we are getting into the nocebo zone. So what I would say with this, that we did a small poll in the last webinar, and we realized that the maximum area of concern for the people was anxiety and stress, and of course all the diseases which are listed down, right from diabetes to PCOD, they all outcome of the first long bar. And at this stage, I would request Shivi, who's the co-founder of Wellness Mandala, very accomplished lady. And Shivi, would you please take over from here, please?
Yes, thank you so much, Aris. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I hope you're in the best of health and especially positive spirits. Aris, that was such a powerful question that you asked. What are we leaving our next generation with? What kind of base are we setting for our own future self? And also, especially for our kids? Is your self-talk placebo or nocebo? And it really made me think, because it's not just what you're saying, it's also through touch or your body language that a lot of communication happens. So I think after this webinar, I am going to go and tweak my conversation with kids so that they start trusting themselves and their abilities more and are inclined to follow a routine or a discipline, not because of parental pressure, but because they see the real value in that action. So given the chart that you have shown here, this was a poll which we had done in the last webinar. Now I see that a lot of these health challenges can be cured just basis trust and discipline, such as, if you can just show that poll again.
Oh, sorry.
Such as obesity here, right? In obesity, it's not the pill that works. It's actually the relationship that we develop with our healthy eating practices and the routine that we follow in terms of our diet and fitness is what really does the wonders here, right? And here, I think, especially, trust and discipline with eating habits, it really works wonders. I'll just share, I think, something about me. I think people who know me, they know me that I'm a big time foodie. I love to eat. And after I have a hearty meal, I do not feel guilty and I do not tell myself, what have I done? I'm going to gain some extra pounds. But what I do is actually I do self-affirmation, positive talk. So I tell myself that it's okay. I enjoyed my meal. I had a hearty meal. And now my body is going to perform the rest of its functions. So the food is going to get digested and I'm going to be my perfect fit self. But I don't stop there. I, of course, follow a regime. I follow a disciplinary practice that I get up in the morning and I practice my yoga. My yoga is actually driven by self-affirmation. So when I'm doing my Surya Namaskar, I actually do a lot of self-affirmation there. And self-affirmation, positive affirmation, self-positive talks does wonders. I think it's one wonder drug that everybody should take. In fact, it has helped so many people, get pulled out of difficult situation, including me. Also, I think if you want to know what affirmations are, in fact, there are so many apps also out there now who can help you in making your own affirmations. So some really interesting stuff out there. Aris, can you go to the next slide now, please? So, many of you who have joined us today, we are basically a holistic wellness organization where we tell people how to practice holistic wellness practices. But we start with the root cause management. So we basically do a very thorough assessment of every individual's physical and emotional well-being. And these that you see in front of you are the 5 wellness capital pillars that we basically assess. So in the first one, which is self-care capital, the session that we have today, discipline gets very beautifully covered here, right? So how are you basically following these natural laws of wellness? How disciplined are you in terms of imbibing these practices in your daily rituals? So we get a very clear picture here. And then, of course, it sets the runway right for our coaches to help you and guide you through the entire journey. Also, when you come to Joy Capital, I think Aris gave a bit of a snapshot in that as well. So in Joy Capital, your trust factor gets covered beautifully, right? How much are you trusting yourself, your ability? What is your affirmations, positive talk that you're giving to yourself, right? Then even in Vital Capital, I think we show you how your positive affirmation, how your emotional well-being is connected to your vital organ health as well. So, and hemo is, of course, we do a blood analysis, but we basically trust our body. We see how these 5 mandalas talk and interact with each other. And then, of course, you have to place the trust on our coaches to help them play their part, where they guide you through your entire wellness journey. Now, if I talk more about Joy Capital here, now in Joy Capital, we basically cover these 5 main domains, which are perception of self, perceived personal growth, life outlook, emotional experience, relational well-being, and a lot of trust aspect gets covered here. Now, for example, perception of self, we understand how you view and feel about your own self, right? Relational well-being, trust factor gets beautifully covered here. What is the relationship that you share with your core, with your partners, with your peers, with your children, with your own self? Emotional experiences. So, whether you delve into the range of emotions, whether they're positive, negative, what is your life outlook? Are you giving yourself that positive affirmation, those positive self-talk that is so very required? So trust gets very beautifully covered here. And once we have done the assessment, then through our coaching, we use techniques to make your beliefs, your trust, and your discipline and commitment to your wellness goals much more effective and much more powerful. So our expert counselor are actually trained to help make your nocebo into placebo. So I'll hand it over back to Aris now.
Thank you, Shivi. Thank you, Shivi. And I think now is the time that we get into the Q&A mode. And please feel free to ask your questions. And Shivi, have you collected the questions, or please go ahead with that.
Yes, Aris. In fact, I have. I think a lot of questions are being thrown there. A lot of people, thank you so much for all your positive comments. They have found this session very effective, and I think they will change their course of how they speak and interact with their own self as well as their children. I've picked up some beautiful tips there. One question that was asked is, what are affirmations and how do we practice them, Aris?
Okay, so affirmations are positive statements which we tell to ourselves in present continuous manner, and we say it at different times. And I'll explain what I'm saying. And there are also some micro affirmations. So let's say an affirmation could be like this: I'm so blissful, happy, joyous, healthy, and passing on the same to millions of people. So this is kind of an affirmation which could be a central affirmation, a central theme affirmation. Say, I say this, while doing Yoga Nidra. And Yoga Nidra, you start by saying your affirmation 3 times. Then you go through the Yoga Nidra. And then again, you conclude Yoga Nidra by repeating the same affirmation. So let's say immunity has been a big issue in today's time. So affirmation for that could be, now we do not use any negative word in that. The affirmation could be that I'm always fit. And so that kind of words we bring around it. If somebody's goal is to get qualified into let's say an administrative exam, the affirmation could be related to that I'm already there, and you start experiencing that, in your vision. And then there could be micro affirmation. So you are taking a pill and you develop a relationship. You're taking a nutrient, you develop a relationship. You are taking a walk, you develop a relationship with that. Wow, this walk is going to be the best walk, So what we do is that we tell our mind that this is where I'm already there. And our mind starts believing that. And it triggers the whole chain of endocrine or our hormonal changes, with that. And we get tremendous benefit. And it is a proven science that, by doing these affirmations, we can change our subconscious language. For example, if someone has an issue of forgiveness, the best affirmation for that person is that I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful to everyone, and I'm always helping the person irrespective of, so that kind of things one can phrase their own affirmations.
Absolutely. I know you've been following your affirmations since many, many years now. It'll be good to know about the Soham practices also that you do in some later conversation. Another question leading to affirmation is how intentional thoughts differ from affirmation.
Would you like to answer that?
Sure. So a lot of times we try to motivate ourselves with different kinds of, conversations with ourselves, self-talk. So in terms of affirmation, it could be, you can do this. You're doing so great. That is intentional. But another way of motivating ourselves, which is intentional, but might not always be helpful, is you have to do this. You can't get out of it. There's going to be so many bad repercussions. While that is also intentional, it's not an affirmation. So intentional thought can be positive or negative, but affirmations are inherently more positive. So we're driving more towards positively affirming us through intentional thought. If I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Leher. Also, another question that was asked is, what is this Vellum ritual that we talk about in every seminar? So, Aris, would you like to address this?
Yeah, we have been toying with this idea for a long time now, and we are getting already got there. You see, now these are 9 aspects, and many of these we can do simultaneously. So while we are talking about air, sunlight, nutrition, there's many of these things can be done together. But everyone have we have our own time schedules, our own needs. So we are looking at that how can we package these together so that you can fit them in and create kind of a ritual for yourself. So this ritual is not a fixed ritual. This ritual will give you the cues that by following those cues, you will weave them like, a garland of rituals, these natural laws. And you will realize that after some time, let's say 21 days and 60 days and 90 days, this becomes part of your life. And, on the after 3 months, you would be doing it, but you'll be doing it without realizing that these 9 laws are in 100 favor of yourself. But what is more important is that there would be flexibility in these. And at the same time, the people who watch you would also be inspired to follow the same.
Great.
And next to next week, we are going to talk about it.
Yes, I think that is going to be truly exciting, where the crux of, I think, these 6 webinars will basically, put into place. So
and we're also trying to gamify it. We're still working, but let's see how it goes. At least, we have taken the first initial step, towards this.
Yes, absolutely. Any other question, Leher, that you would like to address?
Yes, so there is this one interesting question on sorry, can you see me? So they're saying, let's suppose that we don't trust the doctor who is treating us, so we definitely would doubt the kind of medicine they prescribe. How would that help me? That is nocebo. So yes, it is definitely a nocebo impact. So it's a lot of research has shown that individuals who recover sooner with specific doctors, so those doctors tend to have a very kind, warm, and empathic environment. So the context is definitely important. So if the doctor who is treating doubts the kind of medicine they prescribe, it will anyway not have a good impact. So it is definitely a nocebo. So I think you've gotten it right. And other than that, it's important for us to seek out doctors who have that kind of warm and caring environment, because sometimes more than medication, especially for chronic illnesses which don't have a specific cure, that helps more than the medication itself. So that is placebo. Yeah.
Great. Any other questions that you would like us to take?
So someone says it is generally easy to say but difficult to practice the mind control. So yes, of course, it is difficult to train our minds. That is why we have experts in the field to help through the process. So if you feel that, it's getting difficult, I want to do it but can't, so then please reach out. So yeah.
And that's where the Vellum ritual
also helps.
will also help.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, interesting. Since we have a few minutes, I'd like to tell my own story. In 2017, I decided to go on a round robin along with my wife, Mani. And I have been diabetic for last 32 years. And my doctor told that you are on the max of the max of the max tablet zone. And you got to get onto insulin pump. But since you are traveling, okay, enjoy 1 year of your life and then get back and we'll put you on insulin. Now, cutting long story short, I put myself into a place called Lifeline Wellness Center. First time in my life, I'll never forget his name, Peter. He told me, who's not a doctor, but he was heading that center, who told me that you stop taking these 8 pills for your diabetes because in any case, after 18 days, you will not be requiring them. Now, I was shocked. And he said, don't worry, we'll monitor you. And after 18 days, the answer is yes, I dropped all the pills. After some time, I diluted some of my regime. But even today, I'm at hardly 30% of the pills, what I used to take when the doctor told me I need to get on the insulin pump. Now, is it placebo? The answer is yes. Was it a nocebo? Answer is yes. Is it a placebo plus the care I took? The answer is yes. The fact is, it's the same body and same environment, but by tweaking certain things and by changing my mindset, I could get this humongous benefit. So, and there are zillions of stories like that, which really motivate us. So it's an interesting idea to really research out these stories who have been able to make a difference in their life, and therefore it's worth imbibing that. With this, let us come to a very important aspect, that the best doctor is a doctor who can empower the doctor within. And that's what Leher was saying, that there are doctors and doctors. They're doctors who make you dependent. They're doctors who empower you from within. And naturally, if we have to choose a doctor, we need to choose a doctor who can empower my doctor, which is within. And that's what Peter did to me. So with this, we come to the last poll where, we would like to have your feedback, and so that we can do better in the next one. So please feel free to answer these questions. Maybe we take 15 seconds to see what you have to say. Great. So I've ended the poll and would like to thank you all. Thanks a lot for being here with us. And we look forward to meet you again in our next webinar, the concluding webinar, where we're going to talk about the Vellum ritual. How can we make this simplified so that we include these powerful laws of nature in our life? Thanks a lot. Bye for now. And thank you, Vellum team.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Aris.